friend. Yeah, Mike. Nice. My friend, which is that thing you ever heard about Africa and really dazzled your mind? Maybe a myth or a story that people have going in where you come from. You can tell us down below, my friend, as I tell you about this plant here. The corn. Hmm. This one is boiled corn. It tastes extremely nice. Most people here happen to believe if you ask a random Africa, do English people consume corn? They tell you no. They farm it and give it to their animals, cattle. Is that true, English people? Have you ever munched on a corn, my friend watching? Good vibes, soul. This video is about spreading love and peace to the whole world by going through some extremely interesting videos. And we shall get to see how different people believe and think from different places of the world. There are different analogies about other lovely souls from different places of this world. Before we dive in and see the first lovely human that will be spreading good vibes, hear this, my friend. At that time, Jesus said, I praise you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because you have hidden these things from the wise and learned and revealed them to little children. Yes, Father, for this was your good pleasure. All things have been committed to me by my Father. No one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son, and those to whom the Son chooses to reveal him. Interesting. My friends, that is from Matthew 11:25 going down. Let's give thanks to our Maker as we dive in and see the videos. Dear Lord Father, thank you for love and peace. Thank you for goodness and joy. Thank you for this beautiful day, Father. Thank you for your adorable child that have joined us today. Thank you, dear Lord Father, for the blessings in store for them, Father, in this video. Dear Lord, may you pass those blessings to them, Father. May you forgive them their sins, dear Lord. May this viewer get an uplifting of their souls, Father, through this video. Be with us till the end, Father, and we shall be grateful. In your holy name, Jesus Christ, we pray, trusting and believing. Amen. Let's dive in.
Why should a picture of Elon Musk sitting in the Palace of Versailles in France make you smirk? Because of foreshadowing. Because that palace, Versailles, is the living evidence that money is not power, power is power. And power will always trump money. To explain this to you, I'm going to have to take you back to August 17th, 1661. The day in which the richest, but only the second most powerful man in France lost his livelihood, his power, and his freedom because of a party. The man was Nicolas Fouquet, the superintendent of finance of King Louis XIV. Remember him, the absolute monarch of France, the man who built Versailles, building that inspired Marjorie Merriweather Post, the American heiress, to build Mar-a-Lago, the property that was then acquired by Donald Trump. A man who doesn't just share Louis XIV's taste for gaudy decorations, but also shares his ambition of being an absolute monarch who is the son of a court that he controls entirely. Fouquet was in a complicated situation. In March, in the year in which the party was held, the regent for the king who hired him died. So he thought that impressing the king with a massive party would get him on side. So he decided to do it in his country estate, a palace called Vaux-le-Vicomte, a place that he was particularly proud of, because it took him 3 years to build, hiring the best of everyone, from gardeners to architects to painters. And the party itself was insane. Commissioned a play by Molière, nights of fireworks, the finest food, the finest drinks, for 600 people. He offered jewelry to his guests as presents. But was the king impressed? No, he wasn't. All the king saw was that this man, who worked as a superintendent of his finances, lived better than he did. The next Minister of Finance took this opportunity to influence the king into throwing this guy in jail. The king was so enamored of Vaux-le-Vicomte that he built the Palace of Versailles. Well, of course, he's in the assets of the Fouquet family. And how does this connect to Elon Musk? Well, like Fouquet, his power derives from Donald Trump. And Musk, just like all other billionaires, gave Donald Trump a leash, albeit being a golden one, by which Trump will be able to drag him in whatever direction he wants. Doge is a poison chalice, because it allows Elon Musk to take the brunt of the dislike of every single misstep that he makes, but any profit that he makes from it i.e. government contracts, will be dependent on the will of Trump. Taking into account that Tesla shares continue to collapse, that protests against Tesla are gathering apace around the world, that the Republican establishment is starting to get scared of having to defend to their constituencies the impacts of cuts that they do not control, and that his main internal political adversary, Peter Thiel, is vying to impose his own political agenda in a much less exposed way in a snake pit that is the MAGA court, the closest thing that we now have to the French court in the 18th century. I'd be concerned if I was him, because Donald Trump has already started pulling on the golden leash.
Did y'all know that moms aren't letting their daughters do slumber parties or go to sleepovers anymore? I just saw this post that a mom made where she was like, we don't do sleepovers. And I went to the comments because I wanted to see what other moms had to say. And they were like, yeah, no sleepovers, never doing this. And I was thinking to myself, well, I expected a chunk of them, but I didn't expect all of them to feel this way. And I started thinking, like, how lame. Like, those little girls don't get to have sleepovers, and that was such, like, core girlhood memories for me, with sleepovers and slumber parties. And then I read this one mom's comment where she was like, when you know the risk, how can you send your daughter to someone's house for the night? And I was thinking, well, yeah, like, you know the risk. But then I thought, well, shouldn't you just have trustworthy friends? Shouldn't you just only send your kids to the houses of people that you can count on? But then I thought, well, that's not how it works. Like, it doesn't matter if you trust them. It doesn't matter how well you know them. It can still happen. So yeah, it is really lame. And all those girls are going to miss out on a lot. But that mom is right. When you know the risk, how can you do it?
We're going to talk about the finer points of eating mermaids. If you find this morally objectionable, you should swipe. And I'm not even sure where this falls. Is this cannibalism? Is it pescatarianism? Is it cannibalistic pescatarianism? There's a lot of syllables. Mermaids are generally regarded as half human, half fish, but we need to decide whether or not they're warm-blooded or cold-blooded. In this diagram of Ariel, they have fallen firmly on the side of warm-blooded because of the presence of mammary glands, lungs, and what appears to be a four-chambered heart. The reproductive system has maybe thankfully been omitted because we at least don't have to cross the bridge as to whether or not you could get caviar out of Ariel. But to bring us right back around to morally questionable, she does have a liver, so if we force-fed her, we could potentially get some mermaid foie gras. An odd thing happened while I was looking for these images. A lot of mermaid anatomical diagrams fall on the side of them being mammals, like air breathers. This would mean that we could infer that they would have behaviors similar to like whales or dolphins, orcas, stuff like that. This one made me oddly happy because they included gills and a more conservative, what looks like a more conservative two-chambered heart. So depending on the flavor profile that you're looking for, when you're hunting mermaids, you're going to want the ones with gills if you're looking for that fishy nuance. On the flip side, if you want the more meaty, full-flavored version, you're going to have an air breather. However, a word of warning, because of the presence of the lungs, this is also the version that would likely be able to siren sing you to your own demise. Across the internet, dare I say universally, the best part for eating of the fish is going to be the collar and the cheeks, basically that comma area. That consensus quickly degrades once you get to the back, abdomen, and tail meat. Everybody just kind of fights over all of that. So I don't know which one is actually the best. But it seems when you're consuming mermaids, you're pretty much confined to the tail meat. Maybe a little bit of like abdominal meat. And of course, questionable caviar. If we flip this around and move away from the pescatarian side of things and go more toward the cannibal side of things, we're actually left with better cuts of meat because you're going to have access to the loin and the ribs. It seems like if you're a big fan of surf and turf, then mermaids might be the perfect mealtime opportunity for you. I mean, you're going to have to compromise a little bit because you're stuck with tail meat, but to boost it, you might get some awesome caviar, and on top, you're going to get like premium cuts. So all in all, possibly a good meal.
The name that your parents gave you determines if you're meant to be wealthy or successful in this lifetime. 2025 is the universal year number 9 in numerology, and it's also the year of the snake in the Chinese zodiac. And your name number, also known as your expression number in numerology, can show you exactly how to become wealthy in 2025. To calculate your name number, you're going to use this chart, so pause this video and take a screenshot. As you can see from this chart, every single letter in the alphabet can be assigned a single-digit number between 1 and 9. This is done using a mathematical formula, which I'm not going to get into. I'm just going to give you the chart. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your full name given to you at birth by your parents, and you're going to assign every letter in your name a number based on this chart. So you can see 9 is I and R. A, for example, would be 1. J is also 1. S is 1. You get the point. This is just an example. This is what it's going to look like. J would be 1, O, 6, H, 8. Once you have all of the letters assigned a number, you're going to add up all of the numbers together. You're going to get a double or triple digit number. You want to add those numbers together again. If you get 11, 22, or 33, don't touch it. Those are master numbers. They're super important and they're very potent, powerful numbers. But if you get a number that isn't a master number, you have to add it together again until you get a single digit number. So this person, for example, would be a name number, expression number 6. I want you to let me know in the comments what your name number is. Once you've done that, you're probably wondering, how does this show me how to become wealthy in 2025? I'm going to tell you. Every number between 1 and 9 and all of the master numbers show you something different about yourself. They show you where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are. And this goes beyond your conventional strengths and weaknesses. These are energetic strengths and weaknesses. Everything in our universe is energy and frequency. This is scientifically proven, and some of the world's most intelligent and successful people, like Nikola Tesla and Albert Einstein, they understood this and they utilized this in their work. They understood that numbers and mathematics are a universal language. Numbers are the language of energy and frequency. So when we start to understand what numbers are attached to us through things like our birth date and our name, we can start to unlock the codes hidden within those numbers. Number 1, for example, carries the energy of leadership and independence. These are people who make great leaders, business owners, entrepreneurs. Number 3s are entertainers and communicators. These are people who do really well in things like social media and performing on stage, doing things like music, movies, theater. And you personally have 8 numbers in your entire numerology chart, 4 attached to your birth date and 4 that are attached to your name. And they all show you different aspects of yourself. And when you start to understand what your numbers are and what they mean, you can start to lean into your strengths and stay away from the things that you're weak in. There's a lot of you out there right now who are working in jobs and careers where you are aligned energetically within your weaknesses, which is why you feel stagnant and why you're not getting anywhere and why you're not moving forward and becoming wealthy and successful. 4 years ago, I started learning about my personal numerology and I started leaning into my strengths. I'm a birthday number 3, life path 7, and name number 33. 3 being the communicator and entertainer, so I do what I do here on TikTok. 7 being the keeper and seeker and teacher of knowledge and wisdom, usually of a spiritual nature. 33 is the master teacher, so I'm teaching you guys about things like numerology.
Another young person doesn't get the job. Now, if you follow me, you know from time to time I run deep background checks for Fortune 500 companies, some Fortune 100, some other larger companies. I ran another one today, and I mean, you know, the very first video I ever posted, it got almost 2 million views, 1.7 million views, I don't know how many it was, where a woman didn't get a job because of a video that she had posted online years earlier. Now the new thing is young people aren't getting their jobs because of videos that are coming up that are pretty recent. And I just wanted to come on here and just elaborate on the fact that everything you do online lasts forever. Every time you're in public, chances are there's a video camera facing toward you somewhere at some time. So this woman, another woman, interesting that most of the time it's a young woman, it was up for a job at a really large company, and they asked me to do the final deep background check on her, which is a facial recognition, the voice recognition, all the crazy stuff that I do, all the crazy AI and technology stuff that I do. But this video came back, and in this video, she's protesting, you know, free Palestine, and she's saying some pretty crazy stuff about Jewish people. And some Jewish people are there counter-protesting, and she's saying some pretty bad stuff to them. And this was an upper management position. I mean, she's I'm not gonna tell you how old she is, but she's not a kid. She's in her late 20s, and this was going to be cool. This was probably $150,000 all in with benefits, everything. I looked her up. I saw that she was posting about it. She actually posted about this job and about how excited she was about to get this job and how she was in the final running. And she kind of took her social media people through this. But I turned that video in today, and she's not going to get that job. And as someone who grew up with social media and grew up with the internet and grew up with these video phones, these video cameras, how could she do this to herself? If she wants something from someone who the owners of the company happen to be Jewish, by the way, which I can't even make that shit up if I tried, but you're always being recorded, especially if you're in a crowd of people or protesting and you're screaming and yelling or any of that. You're always being recorded, and I can find you. It doesn't matter if the video is erased. It doesn't matter if somebody else posts the video. It doesn't matter if somebody in Timbuktu posts the video. I will find it. Facial recognition, 146 different places on your face. It is 99.999% accurate. It counts the hairs in your eyebrows. It counts the hairs in a square centimeter on your head. It counts the distance between your eyes, the distance here between your eyes, your ears, how your ears line up with one another. It is scary stuff, and we will find you. You could even cover your face. It's voice recognition also. And then you put that together with different elements like me in this room, in my office. You could put this together and you could figure out where I am. You could figure out who I am with this facial recognition, voice recognition and everything. It's crazy. You guys have got to stop doing this. You're destroying your careers. You may be destroying your lives because, again, men are running deep background checks on women before they ask them to marry them because they've become so much cheaper than they used to be. They used to cost $2,500. Now they cost $1,000 or less. It depends on what level you want to go to. So all I'm saying to you, and this is all I'm going to say, is if you want something from someone else, if there's ever going to be a moment in your life where you're going to want something from someone else, stop posting shit on the internet. Stop getting involved in this shit that's going to make you less desirable as an employee or less desirable as a spouse. So there you have it. This is a 5-minute rant, public service announcement, whatever you want to call it. Sometime you're going to want something and you're not going to get it because of the way you acted. And when I was a kid, it wouldn't matter because nobody had it on video. Everyone has you on video. Everyone has everything you do on video. Everything you say, you have to assume you're being recorded. Just don't do it. If you want something, don't do it. You want to be successful? Don't do it. You want to be an influencer and work for yourself? Fine, do whatever you want to do. But don't post any rants. Don't say bad things about people. Don't say bad things about your country. And certainly don't do anything sexual. Don't do anything that you wouldn't do in front of your parents. So, that's it.
The lead are eating mermaids, and I know what they taste like. You've probably seen the viral mermaid eating videos, but have you seen mine? Because mine's the original one. For some reason, it's not on the For You page, but I did get another email from someone that went to the party. They actually paid to go to the party, and they told me what they taste like. Let's read that email, shall we? We're going to call him Jonah because I think that's funny. As in Jonah and the whale, and all of that. Jonah said, I had spent my life chasing the rare, the forbidden, the experiences that others whispered about but never dared to pursue. I had sipped snake venom-infused whiskey in Japan, dined on endangered delicacies in hidden European supper clubs, and even paid an absurd amount to eat a meal cooked on lava in Iceland. When he heard about the mermaid parties, he was down to go, and he said that he paid $50,000 for his ticket. He wasn't told about the location until the day of the party, that a black limo came and picked him up, took him to the party. He said the host was in a white suit wearing a mask, like a masquerade mask, and said, welcome. Tonight you will partake in a dish once served for the kings of lost civilizations, a delicacy that vanished from history until now. Now here's what he said it looked like. Their torsos were eerily human, slender arms, delicate collarbones, pale faces, frozen in serene stillness. But from the waist down, their bodies shimmered with blue-green scales ending in powerful tails. Below their ribs had been with precision, revealing rich marbled meat beneath. A server placed a dish in front of Jonas, thinly sliced filet, lightly seared, resting in a golden broth infused with herbs he didn't recognize. The aroma was intoxicating, sweet, briny, complex. The flavor was exquisite. It was unlike anything he had ever known, sweet like scallops, rich like Wagyu beef, with a depth of umami that seemed to awaken something deep in his senses. It was as if he were tasting the ocean itself, not just its bounty, but its soul. That's his words, not mine. He then said, a warmth spread through my body, my heartbeat slowed, my breath deepened. Around me, the other guests had closed their eyes, their faces soft with pleasure. A sound, and then he describes it as no, not a sound, but a feeling, a low, resonant hum, a vibration in my bones, in my blood. That his mind was filled with visions of deep blue waters, endless and calm, filled with whispers, not words, but emotions, memories, as if the sea itself had opened to him, revealing its secrets. He felt it, the pull, the connection. They were all enjoying it. The host raised a glass and said, to those who dine beyond the edge of the world, said 10 out of 10 would recommend, and he would do it again.
I just learned that this is the way you're supposed to open cans. Was everyone doing it like this? Was I raised wrong? Comes off so clean.
So this one got throttled by the algorithm. I don't know why. Long story short, the makers of ChatGPT have admitted that they are really focused on making sure that the internal thinking of ChatGPT is something that remains unfiltered, because the smarter ChatGPT gets over time, the more that is the only window where they can see what is really going on with the model, and they don't want to lose that window. And if you're wondering, well, why would they lose the window? It's because if you start to tell a model to make its reasoning tokens, its chain of thought, the way it thinks before it writes out its response to you, clean, sanitized, perfect, aligned, then you are losing your chance to actually see what the model is thinking. And there is an increased likelihood that the model will behave deceptively, and you won't know it as the maker of ChatGPT, because all you'll see is a clean looking, nice chain of thought, and then a nice looking output, and you won't realize that the model behind the scenes may be optimizing for something entirely different, like pleasing you, and then doing something else. So basically, it's like parents with teenagers. You want the teenager to tell you the truth, even if the truth is hard. And so you don't want to punish them for telling you the truth, because if you do that, you are incentivizing them to lie. And so that is the TLDR on the blog post that their safety team published. And I think it's worth sharing, because I certainly would like models that are more aligned, less likely to lie and deceive. That sounds like a future I'd rather be in. So there you go. That's what the safety team from the makers of ChatGPT published just yesterday. Cheers.
Welcome to my TED Talk. I want to prove to you that Constantine the Great, the Roman emperor who made Rome Christian, aka formed the allegiance of the church, and Emperor Palpatine, who transformed the Galactic Republic into an empire, are the same. Constantine was not great. Constantine, the real one, and Palpatine, the space one, played the same game. They both took a collapsing republic and manufactured a crisis to save it and turn it into an empire. So this was Rome at its most bloated under Constantine. By this stage, Rome had expanded as much as it could without fully collapsing on itself. Conquest is expensive and draining. You need men to go and fight in your wars. You need to pay them. If you're the Roman Empire, you pay them. It already knew that language and cultural erasure were good tools to stamp out resistance. Rome knew the power of influence, controlling people's minds, Constantine saw that Christianity, which up until now Rome had been persecuting, was actually a perfect tool for the empire. Palpatine also understood that military power had limits. He took power during the Clone Wars, when corruption had weakened the empire. Both leaders realized military dominance wasn't enough to sustain power. Constantine founded Constantinople and shifted the heart of the Roman Empire away from Rome, and Palpatine built the Death Star and shifted power away from the planets into his absolute military control. Constantine's Rome became the Byzantine Empire, and Palpatine's empire lived on as the First Order. But what happens in Rome? That's the Byzantine Empire. After Constantine, Rome begins to fall apart. But the church kept growing. By 476, Western Roman Empire is practically gone. But the infrastructure, the hierarchy, and the mindset was not gone. It fell, but its power structure survived in the Vatican. The emperor became the pope, the senate became the college of cardinals, Roman bureaucratic system became the church's hierarchy, legions became the crusaders. It was a rebrand. Come back later for more. We're entering the Catholic Church phase.
President Trump says he's going to buy a Tesla today. Did he buy it? And when is the last time he drove a car?
That's a very good question. I have heard the president remark that he misses being able to drive, that luxury of driving his own vehicle, although the beast is nice, but he is going to be viewing a Tesla that is making its way to the White House complex now, I can confirm. Perhaps the press pool today will have an opportunity to witness this very exciting moment later this afternoon, but a Tesla is on its way here now, and we'll see if the president likes it when he checks it out.
So they're bringing him a Tesla to look at, and if he likes it, he's just going to buy it.
He's intent on, he's definitely going to buy one, but he'll take a look at it when it gets here later this afternoon.
Full retail?
Yes, full market price.
The one predictor of divorce. With 93.6% accuracy, he can tell you if a couple will get divorced by watching a silent video of them. Dr. John Gottman is a marriage and family counselor. He did the largest marriage experiment ever done. He brought couples in his lab. If one member of the couple shows that one-sided mouth raised towards the other, with 93.6% accuracy, they'll get divorced.
Crazy.
Why? Because he's looking for contempt. Contempt is one of the only emotions that doesn't go away. Fear comes in a burst, you calm down. Happiness comes, then you go back to normal. Anger comes and you calm down. Not contempt. If you feel scorn or disdain for someone else, if it is not addressed, it festers and it grows. And that is why at the end of a very bad marriage, you have two people who can't even look at each other. And so I want you to be, one, on the lookout for contempt. To be like, what's going on? Are you okay? What are you feeling? I want to be here for it, because then you're giving air to whatever that contempt is so it can be addressed. And then you can either fix it or become the enemy against it. And I have a very fervent belief that all couples have the same 3 fights. They might dress up as other things, but down low, they're the same 3 fights. You have to sit with your partner and figure out what are your basic, like root level 3 arguments. And that way, when you're in an argument, even if you feel like we still disagree, you can be like, oh, this is argument number 2. Okay,
We gotta end it.
We're in a stalemate on this one. Argument number 2, what are we doing today?